This is not what I expected. Got an hour left in best ball draft season, and another one bites the dust. Down. I don't mean to smile when I say down goes Gus Edwards, because that's terrible, and I think it's actually probably a net negative for me. But I mean, wow, crazy. Like I said, we got an hour and 15 minutes to draft left before the season starts. We'll get into in-season contests and all sorts of fun stuff, but RIP Gus, still RIP Latavius, I guess. The Ravens signed freaking Devonta Freeman instead of Latavius, which does make me think maybe Latavius is talking to somebody else. I don't know. I'm going to try to stop worrying about the Latavius thing. Every time I think about Latavius, it makes me sick. But I mean, I thought we were going to be able to get on here. I've timed it up perfectly. I got like just a couple drafts left to do. I thought I've played it out well. We could hang out, reminisce about the summer. But instead, now we have this bombshell of Gus Edwards dropped on us. One thing I will say is that, if you have early Gus, that sucks, right? Losing 12th round Gus Edwards really sucks. I think he was a good pick, period, in almost any structure. Gus Edwards, yeah, what a day, man. Jeez. In almost any structure, Gus Edwards was a good pick, particularly on Underdog. I don't have a lot of him on DraftKings or Drafters, just because of the PPR aspect. But even then, I think he was okay. But especially on Underdog, I think by all measures, he was a pretty darn good pick. So it's a bummer, to any teams that have the early Gus. What it is on the other side of things is like sometimes good luck comes when you make the right decisions, like you kind of create your own luck type of thing. And if you were now taking Gus Edwards in the 3rd or 4th round of these drafts, I think, this is a bad run. This is a bad way for you to run out. This is a bad way to kind of lose it, but it's kind of like you were probably making a poor decision buying, a guy that most of the, this J.K. Dobbins injury wasn't super early in the offseason. And so, like I said, I kind of believe in like you create your own luck type of thing with good decisions and hard work and all that fun stuff. Dude, I don't know. I got nothing. My brain's fried from draft season. My brain is fried from trying to figure out what's going on with Latavius. I mean, I know I've resigned myself to the fact that I think it's just over for Latavius. He's like, in terms of talent, I think it's probably just gone. But it's definitely gone for Devonta Freeman. Devonta Freeman got cut before Latavius did. The Saints wanted to keep Latavius, but they wanted him to take a pay cut to be still on the roster, and he wouldn't do it. So they just cut him. They were not interested in keeping Devonta Freeman. So you're like, how is Freeman the one that gets signed then by the Ravens? Freeman and frickin' Le'Veon Bell? What are we doing? It does, to get away from our Latavius bags for a second and stop talking about him, which we probably should stop talking about him and just let it happen. We'll see what happens. Maybe nothing happens with Latavius. We might have drafted 12th round player. It's not going to be in the NFL ever again. But if you did start scooping Tyson Williams, I mean, I would be feeling about as good as you could possibly feel for your Tyson Williams shares. I think once we realize, I mean, again, what a perfect run out, right? Justice gets hurt and then Gus gets hurt. But also, I did take some Justice right away. And actually in some big dogs, I took Tyson and Justice for this scenario. I literally in the big dog took both Ravens running backs for this scenario. And of course, Justice was hurt first. And no, I didn't take Le'Veon Bell or Devonta Freeman. But I mean, Tyson's got to be one of the better values of the entire offseason, maybe the best. And it came about super late. And so there's something to be said for prioritizing that guy that comes out super late, especially in Best Ball Mania, right? He was completely undrafted for what? 80% of the tournament, maybe? And so, even though there are teams for a few days that have him in the 18th round, right? Or in the big dog in the 19th round, 20th round, and on DraftKings super late, still taking him in the 6th, 15th, 16th, whatever, taking him kind of where he should be going, there's still value in that. And so again, I think just, you just kind of naturally get rewarded for making good decisions over time. I'm polishing up, I think my second to last or second to last DK Millie draft. And then I'm going to hop in another one here in about 3 to 5 minutes. Let's see what we got here. Yeah. It's interesting. Melvin Gordon thing is interesting because it kind of feels like Denver wants to keep Melvin Gordon. And everything around Melvin Gordon being cut or traded was just generated by the fantasy industry. You never heard a peep from the Broncos or from any there hasn't even been speculation from any of the beats that they're looking to move Melvin Gordon. I think they think that they're going to win. And so they want to keep him. It's not like they're going to add anything by getting rid of Melvin Gordon. And I mean, it's a 6th or 7th round pick that you would get for Melvin Gordon. So I don't see it, but I mean, it's certainly in the range of outcomes that it happens. I recall my top basketball team a few years ago had Doug Baldwin in the 5th round the year he retired in the preseason. I'm hoping that that can be my fate as well with all my Latavius. Not in the 5th round, obviously, but that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. I have timed out of way too many picks today. I apologize if I'm looking at my phone or whatever because I'm wearing down. I timed out. I did time out a 4th round Gus Edwards pick earlier today on a DK Millie team. I'm obviously not taking 4th round Gus Edwards. And I timed out and took Gus accidentally earlier. I timed out and took Mahomes, which that team worked out okay. But I timed out in the same Mahomes draft and took Gronk. I've been timing out a little bit more than I should. Let's see what we got here. I grew up in Houston, so I'm a Texans fan. I'm loyal, even though Bill. I'd like to see Baltimore phone Houston and trade for Ingram. Yeah. All these gup teams that kept five running backs like the Seahawks and the Texans are now licking their chops because all these guys are going down. And on it's one thing if the Falcons need a running back. Who really gives a shit if the Falcons need a running back? They're not winning the Super Bowl anyway. They can just pick up Wayne Gallman off the scrap heap. But a team that is trying to win the Super Bowl, like the Ravens, that's why I can't believe that they're doing the Le'Veon Bell and Devonta Freeman thing. I just can't foresee that's what they're going to do. And I mean, maybe Tyson is just good. And so that's why they're kind of comfortable. Maybe they have a ton of faith in Tyson, and so they're just we just need this veteran, maybe this veteran that can pass protect, right? That's Le'Veon and Freeman. They probably trust just to be assignment sound. But I also feel the same thing about Latavius. It's a bizarre situation, man. Really bizarre situation. Yeah, the Texans do need draft capital because they traded away all their draft capital, including in this year, trading up to go get Nico Collins in the middle of a total rebuild. The Texans are a disaster. Embrace the chaos. This is where zero RB grinders thrive. Jarrett Patterson. Yeah. I've been drafting Jarrett Patterson and Jamar Jefferson. Amen, Wallace. Yeah, I think Jefferson is too. I think they're both interesting. Jefferson to me I think Jefferson might even be more interesting than Patterson, which sounds kind of crazy, solely for the fact that the Lions are going to be really bad. I think Washington's going to be really good. So Patterson is a nice handcuff for Antonio Gibson, but I don't foresee, he's the third back. Maybe he gets a few touches here or there. But he's not taking over McKissick's role and he's not taking over Gibson's role unless there's an injury. But Jefferson, hold on. I'm about to. All right, I'm about to take Latavius, and maybe the Ravens are working. Maybe the Ravens are working on a deal. I just took 20th round Latavius. Jefferson could just take Jamal Williams' role. What if the Lions are 1-13, and we get later on in the season? What good is there in playing Jamal Williams? I know Swift will be Jefferson's not taking over Swift, but he could get on the field and be productive. I think, take Jamal Williams' role. I didn't look actually. Has anybody got? I didn't get a chance to look. Somebody said in Discord. If you're not in the Discord, make sure you go to spikeweek.com and click Discord link and join the Discord. Best ball season is not over. The preseason NFL best ball season is over, but next week you see I'm rocking the Vince Carter because it's over. Draft season is over, but NBA is about to start. And fantasy football best ball is not over either. They're gonna have in-season contests, but somebody said in Discord that Le'Veon Bell went in the 5th round, 3rd round, 4th round. Somebody took Le'Veon Bell. Yeah. I think I would still be willing to take him because of how valuable he is and because of how low owned he is. I don't know about 801. It's tough. It's really tough. That's probably a little early, but then you also have the fact of how soft these DK drafts are right now. So I definitely, the normal conversation is okay, people have him in the 18th round, so don't take him in the 11th. But I don't really think that that's true given some of the other variables. I haven't had enough time to think through exactly where I would take him. But I'm not completely avoiding him either. My guess is he's going to go higher than I want him to go, but that's not egregious. Good Lord, Wallace, come on, stop it. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing left in the tank. 0. And I mean, the issue is Freeman doesn't have anything left in the tank either, and Latavius probably doesn't have anything left in the tank. I know that they picked up these veterans. I tend to think they're still going to add somebody. I'm not even saying Latavius. They probably won't add Latavius now, but I think that they'll add somebody still. I don't think they're trading for Melvin Gordon, but yeah, one of the Texans guys, one of the Seattle guys. There was a couple other teams that kept quite a few backs. The Chargers, now the Chargers have Eckler banged up, but Josh Kelly or something might be available. I think that they'll add somebody because Bell and Freeman are useless, totally useless. Oh man, how many drafts are you guys done? Are you firing drafts now? Got an hour left. Are you guys firing more drafts? Heading into lineup lock. It's like DFS. I do think, zero RB is obviously there's obviously like the clearest like methodology rationale for everything that has now happened at the running back position, right? Benefit from chaos and the fragility of the position. And not just the fragility of the position, but the the elevation of the next man up at running back that does not exist at the other positions, right? Like it's a combination of those things. We know the position is fragile. We know the position is replaceable from a talent perspective and a point scoring perspective. And we know that, the next man up, as we saw, with like Mike Davis, can be 80% or whatever of the guy he's replacing, at least. Sometimes the same production. And so, that doesn't exist at other positions, aka wide receiver, but also at tight end. And would never be a stream without my dogs going nuts. Not even the last one. But zero RB is very clearly to me the one that's like, the fact that some people are still so opposed and can't get it through their head why there are benefits to this thing is wild to me. You don't have to even like it. It doesn't have to be your preference. It's not even necessarily my number one preference in drafts. Give me McCaffrey, Kamara, Cook. I like Antonio Gibson. I like Jonathan Taylor. Give me those guys. I want those guys on my teams. So I'm not even going out of my way to say I got to draft zero RB, whatever. Even listen to Sean Siegel. Watch Sean Siegel draft, the inventor of zero RB. He drafts running backs. He just has specific types of running backs and specific costs he'll pay for running backs. But it's wild to me that people still can't get it through their head, as we haven't even got to the season yet. And a first round pick running back got hurt. A second to third round pick running back got hurt. A fifth round running back pick got hurt. And then the freaking replacement for the second round pick got hurt. And it's just like absolute total anarchy at the position. And we know there's more to come, right? But they constantly get hurt. They get replaced. Young guys step up. We haven't even gotten to the full-fledged anarchy of the position yet. And so it always just baffles me when people are just like, oh, those stupid zero RB people. And then we've already seen the benefits of it. On the flip side, what it really speaks to is the extreme strategies, not just zero RB. Zero RB is just one of the best implementations of an extreme strategy. So is hyper fragile or robust. Even if you were drafting robust and you avoided these landmines, you're actually in really good shape too. Or you're drafting hyper fragile, but you have a hyper fragile team that Darrell Henderson's your third running back, or you're drafting hyper fragile now and you have Tyson Williams as one of your hyper fragile backs. Just embracing the extremes is the real point here, right? You could still have drafted early running backs. If you drafted Kamara and I think I might be robusting it up in this draft I'm in right now just for funsies on DraftKings because I got Kamara in the first round. But you got Kamara and you take Gibson and you take, then you take Sermon and then you take Tyson Williams. Awesome hyper fragile team. It benefits from the chaos, but you need a little luck to go your way. It's the same thing with every extreme strategy. And it's just wild to me that, I've said this a million times this summer. I love the like running back wide receiver bit because it's really funny. Like it's just hilarious. So I like to do that, and I know it triggers some people, but those people like are often the people that really get triggered by the running back wide receiver thing on either side, like are not worth our time, because it's like I'm literally in the midst of drafting a robust RB team right now. It's just all about the extreme stuff. And I think, Harbs, your point is like the Gus Edwards thing. I mean, the Dobbins to now Gus Edwards thing. Like, what a perfect illustration of the fact that this shit is nuts. It's random and variant, and you're going to hit landmines, and you're going to, the season is not going to go how we think it's going to go. And so you need to just be structuring teams to capitalize from the chaos of a season. And Zero RB is a great one to do that. Vince Carter, baby. Vince Carter. It's over. Vince Carter is one of my favorite basketball players of all time. The Vince Carter dunk contest, the it's over dunk contest is one of the best sports moments in the history of sports. Amazing. And I'm also a North Carolina Tar Heel basketball fan, so Vince Carter will forever be one of my favorites. No, Penny's number one. Penny's number one. I only wore VC because of the "it's over," the irony of the "it's over" moment. His draft season is over. If you don't know what the "it's over" moment is, please drop off the stream, go and watch Vince Carter. It's over, in the Vince Carter dunking contest. But literally yesterday, one of my good high school buddies, who is also a diehard Penny Hardaway fan. Next week, when we launch NBA, when NBA launches on Underdog, I'll wear the Penny jersey. Also got the white chocolate jersey. I got some fun jerseys. I'm from St. Louis, so the D Miles, Darius Miles, is one of my favorite jerseys. Yeah, pretty close. Basketball's the one with goalies. Pretty close. I do think I don't own any Top Shot moments anymore, but I did own it when I was in. I was a little bit lucky. I got out not at the top, but fairly close to the top. Now, I made a lot of mistakes in Top Shot. The Vince Carter moment was not one of the mistakes I made. But I thought I could kind of outsmart the market I'm a diehard basketball fan. So I know we've been doing all this football and stuff, but I'm also excited for basketball to get here because I'm a huge basketball fan. Like, I watch tons of NBA. I play tons of NBA DFS. Excuse me. Huge NBA fan. So I thought I could like outsmart the market, right? And obviously I work in DFS and bet on the NBA and all that fun stuff. So I thought I could kind of outsmart the Top Shot market with my player takes, who's undervalued and all this. None of that shit mattered. Just a gigantic waste of my time. But I don't know. Zero moms. I sold. I agree. Penny's my favorite player of all time. One of my favorite athletes of all time. Probably Penny and Ken Griffey Jr. My favorite athletes of all time. One of my dogs' name is Griffey. For Ken Griffey Jr. Definitely the best. It's not even close. It's not even close. I love that we're killing time talking about basketball. I think we've talked about so much football that probably a little bit of showdown for me. Nothing too crazy. Let's do probably a little bit of showdown. My Showdown Slate IQ article is up on Roto Grinders, which is always fun. I know people seem to enjoy that. Poku, come on. Poku doesn't have hype. Poku, I could break Poku over my knee. Stop it. KPJ. Now KPJ. Now we're talking. Oh yeah, there's a if you haven't watched, there's a Netflix documentary on Vince Carter. Talks about him and T-Mac and everything in Toronto. Really good, by the way. I like the Geo captain play tonight. Geo, Rojo, just fade Lenny, man. Play the other Bucks running backs. CeeDee Lamb time. If you guys are we're going to be talking about NBA basketball next week, is my guess. I think they're going to launch something. If you guys try to talk me into touting Poku, we're going to have some problems. Yeah, I think so. I think we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier. That I think basically all these signs are like, I do, just to reiterate, I do tend to think that they're going to bring somebody else in still. I just can't fathom a team with Super Bowl aspirations, some other aging veterans, right? Calais Campbell's at the end. And I mean, I guess they did lose Marcus Peters too today to the what is perceived to be an ACL, I believe. But, they're in win now mode. They're absolutely in win now mode. So I find it hard to believe that Le'Veon and Freeman are the only guys they're bringing in. But in general, I still think really, really good for Tyson. Fucking neither, dude. You guys you can't be serious about those two guys, right? And maybe I'll be wrong. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong. If those guys are fantasy impactful this year, I don't know. I'm speechless. Clearly, trying to come up with like something I would do or a reason. I couldn't possibly foresee them doing anything. Yeah, man, it's finally time. All these camp highlights of CD, and this is a tough matchup. I'm excited. I think I'm going to bet the Cowboys plus 9.5. The haters think they can't keep it within 10 points. Come on, their defense is bad, but 10 points? Come on. Tom is 45 years old. That is so true. I cannot argue that. I cannot argue that. This is true. I agree. Good for low-key, not low-key. Low-key. Lamar, Andrews, Bateman when he gets back, Hollywood, Sammy, probably pretty good for them too. This is nice. You can add Freeman and Le'Veon to Hyde and Booker, old running backs. I think Madison. I don't even think this is close. It's Madison to me. Yeah, I think Brady's going to play well too. I just think the Cowboys. That's a lot of points. Like the Cowboys can score on everybody. I know the Bucks are awesome. Bucks might even be the Super Bowl favorite again, whatever. But I don't know. That seems great. Seems a little crazy to me. 10 points. They're like the biggest favorite of the week, right? They're the biggest favorite of the entire week one, and they play a top 3 offense in the NFL. Yeah, man, it can be. That's what this is all for. That's what we're here for. That's why I'm just like, I like to fire these up and just like kind of shoot the shit. You know what I mean? Everybody does like, oh, let's do another draft, and I like to do those too. Let's do a draft, or let's have an agenda and talk through these different things. And I kind of like to freestyle it a little bit more. And like the point is like this community, like we can all just talk right? We have different opinions on Le'Veon Bell, or we have different opinions on whatever. That's fine. We can talk it through. But like this, a little more casual experience, I feel like is a little more fun. This is funny. This is funny. This is what I'm saying. Everybody keeps. I'm not trying to call out one of my friends in particular, who is also all over the Bucks and is also a Joe Public. And so I feel the same way. I mean, it's just wild to me. It doesn't make any sense. Let's see. Yeah, I think Lamar, Andrew, I think the passing game, Lamar mainly, but the passing game in general, I mean, it has to be at least a slight uptick, right? At least a little. I can't believe I'm drafting this robust RB team. But DraftKings is so stupid. Okay. I start Kamara, Joe Mixon, and CEH. Literally 3 running backs to start. Here, this is how silly this site is. Still get Chris Godwin, DJ Moore, and LaVisca. And I pivoted to Hawkinson in the 7th freaking round. DraftKings is silly. And I'm still going to end up with like Rondale Moore as my like wide receiver 8, starting RB. DraftKings is wild. Yeah. So Spike Week is not my own personal project. I work for Roto Grinders, which is owned by a company called Better Collective. We'll get there. There's some behind the scenes stuff in terms of monetization first. Yeah, I feel like we do a pretty good job. You do have to obviously talk a little bit about the player takes and all of that, but I feel like, that was the kind of the goal that I set out for this offseason is basically like macro. Like, everything that matters is the macro. And I feel like we do a pretty good job, like in Discord and on these shows, you guys in the chat and everything, we're talking kind of from that perspective as opposed to, what you see a lot of, like, what do you think about Antonio Gibson? Good question. I wouldn't say I'm buying increased involvement. What I am kind of buying, I'm curious what you guys think about this. What I am kind of buying is the report was not necessarily increased involvement for Hines, but JT is absolutely the early down back and Hines is absolutely the passing down back. And it's just a two-headed monster that Marlon Mack is really not a thing. And I think people were like, oh, maybe Marlon Mack mixes in a little bit, right? They used to even bring in like Jordan Wilkins a little bit. And the reports are kind of that it's just JT. And also, if you take a step back and think about, again, talking about like the macro, and you just think about that team and you think about the talent in that backfield, it is like JT and Hines are so much better than those other guys. So it makes sense that they would be like the only 2 guys, to really be involved, to get touches for that team. And because their skill sets fit so well, JT proved that he can play in the passing game, and Hines is not an incompetent runner, but their skill sets fit so well together. JT is just this freak, absolute stud workhorse running back who's not perfect in the passing game, which sets up Hines because Hines is a baller in the passing game, an awesome receiver. So they really fit so well together. So my take was basically that it's those 2 guys together, and I like both of them. Let's see. Wait, what? Excuse me? Oh, on Sunday? Yeah. Okay. I thought you were talking about in the best ball, Millie. I was about to say, like, if you had that, best ball, Millie, I'm going to go contact DraftKings and report that. Yeah. It's fun. There's issues with a little bit of ownership, I think. But you'll definitely see me with Carolina stacks. The user base. Like I like never recognize. Dang it! I like never recognize any names in DraftKings drafts. Almost never. I think it's a lot of people that don't do what you guys do, that don't understand structural drafting and different draft strategies, that aren't as ingrained in the player takes. Don't hang out with us. Don't listen to these shows and stuff like that. Definitely, as Jake says, it's just kind of like, your casual recreational players more. And Underdog is just where all the people who've grinded this thing all summer and are really taking it serious gravitated towards. So it's not that there aren't. I kind of talked about it this morning a little bit when we did a draft. It's not that there aren't soft drafts on Underdog right now. The issue is that the sharp players have been on Underdog all summer, and all the content has been created for Underdog. So even though some softer players are coming in to Underdog, they're like bailed out by the fact that the market is so efficient, the ADPs are so efficient. Like, it's hard to kind of screw up. Even if you're bad, you're still drafting off the ADP. And so it's like the ADP is the most efficient that's ever existed. Not even like that just exists right now, that has ever existed in fantasy football. And so, like, as long as you're just going off ADP, which is what most people are going to do, you can't screw it up that bad. You only screw it up by like reaching really far for some guy way down the list, which I guess happens a little bit on Underdog. I've seen some of the screenshots, but compared to DraftKings, the ADP isn't efficient, and people are doing that. So Hines in the slot. Yeah, maybe. I think it's possible. I think it's possible they use them both a little bit more. I don't think TY really matters. He's dust. It's over for TY. Could certainly be wrong, but that's yeah. If you had that in the DFS Millie, or if you had that in the best ball Millie, that would have been something. I like that. That works. Definitely. There's a lot of fun games. There's a lot of fun week 1 games. Agreed. There's a lot of fun week 1 games. A lot of the guys that I'm high on are in good week 1 matchups, so I can get my screenshots ready. When Sam Darnold rips it up, I can dunk on everybody that's doubting my Sam Darnold takes. It's the main thing that I'm looking forward to. It's victory lapping Sam Darnold when he throws for 304. Yeah, I think that's fair. Paris is still not completely 100%, which is really freaking unfortunate. Would love for the kid to get it together. Let's see if I get sniped here. Probably going to happen. Trying to set up my Jags double stacks. Somebody said it in Discord the other day. Like, every time you set up a double stack on DraftKings, you're going to get sniped. I'm playing Darnold on Sunday, so if you guys are in here and you've been with me on the Darnold and the Panthers thing, and you don't play a freaking Darnold team on Sunday in DFS, I might ban you. I think I'll probably ban you. Seriously, though, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to Monday. I'll be traveling back from Philly on Monday, but I'm looking forward to whenever we can get to this results recap on Monday and like talk, like we'll have seen things, you know what I mean? We'll have seen a little bit, we don't want to overreact to 1 week, but we'll have seen at least a little bit of some of the things we've been looking for and talking about for months and months and months, right? How's Kyle Pitts going to get used? Are the Panthers, actually this offense that we do want to buy into, that we want to invest in? Some of the backfield situations, right? Is Mike Davis really a workhorse? Is Joe Mixon really a workhorse? Is Najee Harris really a workhorse? Does Antonio Gibson get more receiving work? Blah, blah, blah. There's like these million things. Even like tonight, CD is, does CD take the step, or is Amari kind of still the leader? Is Gallup moving around the formation? How does Dak look? There's just like 10 million things that it's 1 week, and you don't want to take 1 week like as the total gospel. It's not the entire answer to the questions that we've been having all summer, but it's like something. And at least interesting to discuss, because we can discuss it through the lens of knowing that it's not everything, but like, okay, how do we react? Kind of like the preseason stuff we talked about during the preseason, like how much is the appropriate amount to react? I will take that Darnold jersey though when he smashes, even if it's Jets Darnold. Yeah. No argument for me. I don't think Mike Davis is going to hold on for forever. Let's see. I got to make sure I promise I'm not ignoring you guys when I'm looking down and stuff. We're almost at a 30-minute warning, just for anybody that's trying to get in more drafts. I do think Underdog said Puppy 3 is 532 and Best Ball Mania is 520. Sorry, I'm in Central Time Zone, so 620 for Eastern Time. And DraftKings, I think everything is done at 620. So if you're wanting to get in anything, got 35 minutes. And I think I got one more. Talk about perfect timing. I think I have one more DK Millie draft to do. Let's look, double check. This is so not user friendly. Man, these drafts are wild. I wasn't kidding about doing a robust running back start and getting still seriously loaded wide receivers. We talked about this earlier too, so not to beat that dead horse, but next year, man. Very few early DraftKings drafts for me. I want to get some in probably just to have some shots at, late round Darrell Henderson and that kind of stuff. But these drafts right now are crazy. I don't feel behind. On Underdog, if you draft right now in Best Ball Mania, you feel behind. Your teams are nowhere near as good as the teams that were drafted early. You got Tyson available to you. That's it that they didn't have. But you're talking about 18th round Marquez Callaway, 16th round Elijah Moore, blah, blah, blah. We've done this song and dance a bunch, had this conversation a bunch. But on DraftKings, you're not really even hardly missing out on anything. And the drafts are just, you just build teams you love every single time. Every single time. Did we ever hear how the free tickets DK gave out last year impacted the contest? Seemed the soft drafts then created many super teams. Yeah, I don't know. I can't say for sure. I also can't say for sure because I didn't benefit. I did most of my drafts before that point last year. That was brutal. And then it filled. So I can't say for sure exactly like how it impacted. I don't know what team won. We don't have the data transparency. We don't have the contest transparency. I'm hoping that we'll have that for this year. I've been a little bit in touch with the people at DraftKings, and they're aware. Like you saw, they didn't do the ticket giveaway this year. They corrected their mistake from last year. They knew that was a mistake. I was told, I think I told you guys, but like I was told when I asked about it a while back, the person that I talked to at DraftKings, I was like, I'm getting questions about, are you guys going to do the ticket thing again? And his response was no chance. So I think they know, if we're just being frank though, they don't really care about best ball. It's really just like a customer acquisition tool for them. They want to have it so that people that want to play best ball, will hop in, and then they can bring them into the sports book and bring them into the DFS contest and stuff. But I think that they know DK has good customer service too. We talked about Underdog earlier. It's not no one is perfect. And people have complaints, and when you're that big of a company, sometimes you might make a mistake, like the ticket thing. But they have good customer service too, so I feel all right about DraftKings. No, I haven't, but I don't play a ton of season long anymore. I have gotten excited for some of my season long teams that I do now, because of all the best ball work and everything that I've done. But I haven't done, I'll be interested to this point, not exactly this example, like the one division thing, but what I think we're going to see that's really going to be fascinating to me is best ball drafts that are, like, again, not like just the divisional thing, but those kinds of ideas around like Underdog is going to experiment with like all sorts of fun stuff, in my opinion. Just those contests don't exist, and I'm a tournament player, really. I think that's kind of the big draw ultimately to best ball. We talked about it a little bit this morning. Like maybe I'll carve out some time next year for some, some of the cash game type stuff, but I find it hard. to carve out time for these, 3-mans and 6-mans and 12-mans when you're doing, 500 to 1,000 tournament drafts. It's all right. Yeah. Less than a half hour. I'm not going to stream all the way up until then. We'll say 8 or so minutes. We'll sign off at the top of the hour. What I want to hear, if you guys have hot takes for the season. People get triggered on Twitter when other people like post their hot takes and stuff, which I think is funny. But if you got any, dump them in there. Dump them into the chat. I want to hear them. Yeah. See, and this is what I think is going to happen. I think they did the rookies and sophomores thing. I think that they'll do some more of that kind of stuff. I think they'll do super flex. I think they'll do, they'll experiment with interesting different formats. Underdog will specifically. And then probably once they set the industry standard, other people will follow suit. So I'm excited to see what they do. And like, we're going to get all these sports. I mean, they're just going to take over the world with this best ball stuff. Like I joke, I'm a Formula One fan too. If you don't watch Formula One, I highly recommend the Netflix series on Formula One, Drive to Survive. I'm like obsessed with Formula One now. We have like that friendly text threads. I have multiple friends that are like diehard into Formula One now. I even get my wife to watch it with me. She's even interested in it. I think it's because she thinks Lewis Hamilton is attractive. So it's not totally fair, but I foresee them having stuff for even like getting to Formula One, NASCAR, golf, MMA, right? Soccer, European soccer is huge. I foresee all of that. And so we're still we're at the ground floor of all this with NFL. There's going to be in-season NFL stuff. NBA is coming soon. All right. Kittle, tight end 1. I like it. My similar hot take, I do love Kittle. But Pitts is, I just spit trying to say Pitts with liquid in my mouth. Pitts, tight end 1. I think maybe Kelsey. It's a lot of mileage on the old Kelsey legs. Kind of like Derrick Henry. I think if there was ever a season where these guys would wear down and miss some games, not even just like, season ending, but miss some games, I think it might be this one, which opens the door for a Kyle Pitts or a George Kittle. I love this, Dustin. Love it. I hope. Tua, Darnold, basically Lance, Fields, Lawrence, Tua, Darnold, Zach Wilson. If those guys do well, I will do well. If those guys do not do well, I will not do well this year. That is it. That's like you could probably sum up my best ball season with that idea, with your like Tua, but lump in all those other quarterbacks, all the other quarterbacks that I mentioned. If those guys are successful, I'll probably be successful. If those guys are not successful, tough scene. Probably a tough scene for me. This Ravens injury thing leads to Devin Duvernay carving out a role like Ty Montgomery did. Wow. I gotta say, I expected some spicy hot takes. I did not expect a Devin Duvernay take. So I respect Steve. I like it. That's interesting. I'm keeping this in mind because they are going to be on a showdown slate coming soon. So a reminder for those that like to play showdown. Chargers over the Chiefs. Chargers win the division over the Chiefs. That is bold. I think the Chiefs are the best team in the NFL. I think this is the best Chiefs team we've seen yet, even better than the Super Bowl winning team. It's also the best This also might be the best Chargers team. Maybe outside of like what the Phillip Rivers team, Marty Schottenheimer team, they went 14-2 or whatever. This Chargers team is pretty sick too. So I can't even like really argue that. I did too, Ethan. That's why I started drafting him a lot. I corrected my errors. Go for it. However, I'm just going to tell you Pitts is a smash. Yeah, so this is my big thing. It's a combination of things. I could scream from the mountaintops about Kyle Pitts and continue to do that. I don't need to do that. I think everybody knows how special Kyle Pitts is as a player. He's got opportunity, blah, blah, blah. The big thing about these drafts is somebody mentioned like the macro thing from earlier. The biggest advantage you have as a drafter, the biggest weapon that exists in best ball drafts, in fantasy football, period, is understanding the draft market, the draft room that you're in, and like these tier breaks. And not even just like tier breaks, but like maybe how long a certain tier lasts at every position, you know, where there are pockets of drafts that exist where it's like maybe it's awkward. There's certain ones like on Underdog especially. There was this drop off. Kyle Pitts went in the late fourth, early fifth after all these wide receivers that you loved in this weird, you know, you don't like the running backs there. Maybe you want one of the elite quarterbacks, but like the wide receiver drop off was pretty steep. And there was a tier of wide receivers after that was like huge. Same thing exists now he's a tier up on DraftKings, but the same thing exists on DraftKings where he is in this, he goes after the tier of the Allen Robinsons and the Terry McLaurins. And then he goes in the same tier of all these wide receivers that are the same, from the Rams guys, the Bucks guys, the Tyler Lockett's, the DJ Moores, the Bengals guys, I could go on and on and on and on. The Steelers guys, right? There's all of them. And Pitts goes somewhere in that range. So you know if you take him late third or early fourth, you're still going to get wide receivers. Maybe even a running back if you like DeAndre Swift or something. You're still going to get a player basically that's the same. But Kyle Pitts, you're not going to get a tight end like Kyle Pitts later. Like maybe TJ Hawkinson, if you like TJ Hawkinson similarly to him. So understanding those pockets of the draft, that's ultimately, like, I wish I would have realized it earlier, but that's ultimately what landed me on Kyle Pitts. Not even like just Kyle Pitts. I kind of wish I had figured it out before, but it's kind of the nuance of drafts. Jake, you're playing to my heartstrings. You know I love Darnold. I mean, Darnold's one of the biggest stands for me. The Duvernay, Jameson, the Duvernay take? Is that the one chip challenge take? I like this one chip challenge take. That's really good. I might steal that, by the way. So if you follow me on Twitter, and if I post that on Twitter, reply so I can give you credit. Oh, baby. You guys are anti-Chiefs in here. You guys are nuts. I think the Browns beat them. I really do like the Browns. Really, really like the Browns. So I can get behind that. All right, 20 minutes. Is that right? Yeah. 20 minutes. It's been I do just want to say, we're going to keep going down the hot take rabbit hole because you guys are sick, disgusting, anti-Chiefs, pro Devin Duvernay degenerates. But it's been a really fun. Thank you for hanging out over the course of the summer. I'm looking forward to the game. I'm sure you're looking forward to the game. If you're in the Philly area, I'm from St. Louis, but I'm going to be in Philly this weekend. So if you're from the Philly area, hit me up. Be around. Let's see. Oh no, Dustin. Oh no. I don't have hardly any Jameis, and I do have some Taysom, so I guess I can get behind that. I can get behind that. Now we're talking. We are talking. I like this. If we compare rookie Calvin Ridley to Andrews last season in a down year, Ridley was mildly better. So even though Pitts is a wide receiver playing, it's too micro to me. I mean, I respect the take, and I've heard Pat Crane has made this take. Like if he is rookie Calvin Ridley, it's way too micro for me. It's way too micro for me. I get it, and I don't even think that the logic is bad. But I will bet you, I would be happy if you want to slide in the DMs on Pitts versus those guys. I think that the rookie year Ridley thing is too much. Like you're hyper focused on what about rookie year Calvin Johnson? What about rookie year Odell Beckham? I know that like those are ceiling outcomes and maybe even unrealistic, but like we pick one nugget, and the Calvin Ridley thing is one nugget to focus on just because he's on his team, I guess, right? But like that doesn't mean anything. Kyle Pitts is Kyle Pitts. What Calvin Ridley did doesn't matter. What if he's Calvin Johnson is basically my point. He could suck. He could be the worst pick in all of fantasy football. That's absolutely possible. But he could also be Calvin Johnson that you get to play at tight end. Now, I don't think he's going to be like literally that productive, but I'm talking that's the kind of prospect we're talking about. We're not talking about Calvin Ridley as a prospect. We're talking about Calvin Johnson as a prospect that you get to play at tight end in fantasy football. So that's kind of my big thing. Drafters just sent out an overlay alert. If you're trying to hop in any last drafts and you want to get in drafters. Won't argue that. I think that's I kind of hope a poorly constructed team wins. I really do. Because I don't think that matters, but people will latch onto it. You can draft 4 quarterbacks, or you can draft whatever, you know what I mean? Just like this year, the focus was so much early on hyper fragile just because Herzig won with it last year. And it's a good strategy, but you have to apply it appropriately to drafts. Chiefs start 1-2 and then they win out. Browns win it all. I like this. How about this one? Browns. Oh my gosh. I think I almost just had a heart attack with that sneeze. And I always sneeze in I don't only sneeze once. So be prepared. And I'm trying to really quickly click the mute button before I sneeze. So I apologize if I sneeze into your ears. Here's my I haven't done a lot of the season hot takes. Browns. So I think that the Chiefs are the best team in the NFL. Get that out of the way. However, the best team doesn't always win. Browns, Washington football team, Super Bowl. And it's probably going to be 10-7 with those two defenses. That's my take. Cheers, brother. Love you guys. God, that's interesting. Carry On is an interesting name. And to be fair, I'm going to call you CO. To be fair, CO, your point is not even necessarily wrong. And I think it makes sense. The bar is really high. What Kyle Pitts has to do is a lot. He has to do something we've never really seen before. So I get people being skittish on it, but I think that the payoff is so immense that I think taking a stand against him was probably not great. Being as heavy as I am trying to be on him now isn't that's, if you don't want to do that, that's totally fine. But I think saying, latching on to the one Calvin Ridley thing and being I'm not going to draft him, I'm only going to draft Hawkinson and Andrews, I wouldn't do that either, if that makes sense. Ooh, spicy. I like Devonta Smith. Somebody posted on Twitter earlier today, these, XYZ guys are the ones that can bury me. And I've been taking more Devonta Smith literally in the last week, mainly on DraftKings, because I feel like he can bury me. Him and Jay, like if a Hurts Devonta Smith stack won everything, I would not be surprised, and I don't have anywhere near enough. And I think that was probably a mistake. Yeah, there's more to the comparison than just coincidence, but it's confirmation bias just because it was the same team. It was the same team 4 years ago. It's not the same team now with Russell Gage and Zacchaeus, Mike Davis. It's just a different scenario. And so the same team thing is what makes it make sense for us in our head, when from an actual projection and probability standpoint, it really actually doesn't mean anything. But it helps drive home the point for us, and like it clicks, it makes sense, right? Even though actual like probability says that it really doesn't matter. Oh, baby, we are getting spicy. Devin Duvernay and Tutu Atwell. I hope Tutu Atwell breaks out. I just took him in the big dog. Can we bet on Kyle Pitts? Yeah. If Kyle Pitts is Megatron level talent in 2021, not 2010, you want him. Found your YouTube only in the last couple of months. Great discussions. Can't wait for. Cheers, Mark. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for the comments. Bro, I'm literally getting ready to sign off. Why do you do this all the time? You come in at the end. Season's almost over. I guess I can hang out for 10 more minutes. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I really got to pee. I know that you're not supposed to like talk about that, but such is life. Yeah, maybe. It's possible. Yeah, I think there's overlay multiple places. Drafters has huge overlay. The $11 on Drafters has huge overlay. DraftKings has overlay, and Puppy 3 has overlay. Now, it's not Drafters is more than paying off the rake, but most of them are not. They're not like necessarily rake free, but there's overlay. Yeah, overlay is simply there's for legality purposes, you have to set how big the field is for these contests. So let's just call it 200,000 for like the DraftKings Millie Maker. They have to set how big it is, like how big the prize pool is and how many entrants there are for a guaranteed prize pool for legal reasons. So there's 200,000 people, and again, using round numbers, there's 10% rake. So overlay would be, anything less than 200,000 people is what they would call overlay. So only 190,000 people enter out of 200,000. There's 10,000 people, $10,000 or 10,000 entrants worth of overlay. That's impactful because now, any single entrant less than 200,000 that gets in is beneficial to us because there's less rake that we have to pay on this. Sometimes you'll get an instance like Drafters right now that is rake free or more than rake free because they're not even getting to the point of breaking even from the site's perspective once we take away the rake. I'm just messing with you. Yeah, circa 2. Circa 2. All right, guys. I'm going to leave it. Got 7 minutes left. Yeah, man. Vince Carter, baby. Oh, yeah. So same amount of teams make the playoffs. They will pick. Sorry. I get your question now. They will, so top 2 advance to the playoffs, but then they'll pick the highest scoring teams after that to advance if they need to select more because they don't fill enough leagues. Does that make sense? All right, guys. I got one more draft to enter here in these last few minutes, and it's my anniversary, so I don't want to get in too much trouble for talking about too much basketball and too much football. Love you guys. Thank you guys. Tons of fun. We made it. We did it. We did it. We made it through this draft season. Super pumped for the football season to start. We're not stopping. Content's not stopping at Spike Week. Whether it be NBA next week, whether it be in-season NFL contests, recaps of everything that's going on in the NFL to talk about kind of our things that we learn, whatever. We're not stopping. So appreciate you guys. It's been an absolutely incredible experience this off season, and I'm looking forward to tons more, so much more. So for me, for my dogs that are over here, if you can hear them, for Vince Carter, draft season, it's over. Love you guys.